Welcome all to the it's going to be a long night if I can't say September. September 22nd, 2020, 6:15 p.m. open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. The agenda. I don't know if you all saw the email. I'm going to step off the script for a moment, but we have some guidelines from the town. I think you can see them on your screen. Mine just kind of shrunk, so I can't see them, but I have them in my hand. We received communication from Robert Pomprion, and there are some new guidelines we have not been following. I'm not sure if these are new or not, but I'd like to take a moment to discuss them with us. I'm going to read while you read, but it's dear all chairs of town boards, commissions, and committees. Greetings and good afternoon. This is a friendly reminder on the following COVID-19 emergency open meeting law requirements for all towns, boards, commissions, and committees using the town's Zoom meeting platform for remote participation. These are legal requirements of the COVID-19 emergency open meeting law, which must be adhered to. 1. After calling the meeting to order, the chair must read the COVID-19 emergency language regarding the open meeting law printed on each agenda at the beginning of the meeting. 2, the chair must publicly announce the names of all members in attendance and participating in the meeting. I'm curious if that includes proponents and other people, but we'll make sure we get their names along the way. 3, when a motion is made and seconded, the chair must publicly announce the name of the member making the motion and the name of the member seconding the motion. And 4, all votes must be conducted by roll call vote, with each member identifying themselves as well as their vote. Minutes of the meeting should reflect the roll call vote. Town Council has advised that several communities across Massachusetts have been receiving open law meeting complaints for not adhering to these requirements of the COVID-19 emergency open meeting law. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact my office. Thank you for your time, consideration, and cooperation. Sincerely, Robert Pomprion, Town Manager, Town of Ayer, etc. With that being said, before we have the agenda approved, I am going to read the verbiage at the top of it. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Baker issued an emergency order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations, quote, through adequate alternative means, close quote. This meeting will be broadcast live on Channel 8 and on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by following the call-in information on the bottom of the live broadcast screen. For the Zoom meeting information relating to remote participation, please contact Cindy Knox, IT Director, at cknox@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8252 prior to the meeting. Thank you for your patience. First order of business is to approve the agenda. May I have a motion, please?
This is Jonathan Krantz. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Ken Diskin, second.
Thank you. Mr. Krantz made the motion and Mr. Diskin seconded. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Diskin, please.
In the paragraph that you read in italics, the second sentence, it says open meeting low. I think it needs an A instead of an O.
There's also a missing paren in there too. Thank you, Ken. I saw it. I saw it the first time I read it months ago, and I saw it again. So we will, yeah. There's no helping the spell checker. Thanks. Okay. Anything pertaining to the agenda itself? I'd like to just take a quick minute and throw a couple things out there. We have a few things that are sitting on the back burner, if you will. One is 66 Westford Road, the Cataldo property. We're going to have an update during the old and new business category. We also have a traffic study owed to us by Global Montello for the name escapes me, but I can't think of the gas station out on Harvard Road. That'll also, I'm sorry, Alltown. Thank you. That'll happen also during the old and new business update. And finally, so that everyone's in the know, Mr. Diskin will be recusing himself from the section of the meeting where we discuss Ayer Solar 2B. With that being said, all in favor of the agenda?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz.
Aye.
Guys, we got to do roll call. And I'm going to do it by the pictures on my screen. Mr. Krantz.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay. First, after approve the agenda is an oldie but goodie, the covenant or bond release, and we have no covenant or bond releases this evening. So brings us to the continued public hearing for special permit 14 Washington Street. Mr. Archambault, would you like to read the email, the request from Mr. Bertard from GPR regarding this issue?
I would, but I don't have it immediately in front of me. I will have to dig it out. Unless he wants to just give us the gist of it, which was to let us know that the updated plans are in process and that he requests that the planning board next take this up on October 13th. I can search for it here.
Good evening, Kyle. You joined just in time. How are you this evening?
I figured that was my cue, and yes, Mr. Archambault has it correct that if we could continue that hearing until the next regular meeting of the planning board, that would be preferred.
Okay, thank you. And I assume also that's for the special permit request and also the site plan review for 14 Washington Street?
That's correct for both.
Thank you. So we need to do a little bit of housekeeping right now. We accomplished this last meeting. Mr. Krantz, are you queued up and ready for some motions, please?
I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for the special permit at 14 Washington Street until our next air planning board meeting on October 13th.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Nathan, second.
Mr. King seconds. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to go down the roll. Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
Mr. Tillotson votes aye. Thank you very much. Would you please do a motion, Mr. Krantz, for the
Yes.
second item?
I make a motion. I move that we continue the site plan review for 14 Washington Street until our next planned air planning board meeting on October 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. King, for seconding. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go backwards. Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Brings us to our next item on our agenda. Excuse me. The continued review of the amended site plan for Ayer Solar 2B. May I have a motion, please, to open the continue? Do we have a question? Mark?
Yes.
Since this is a review, do we need to open the hearing again? We should, shouldn't we?
I believe so. I think it would
Okay.
be better form to do that.
Great, let's do it.
Such a long time, especially.
May I have a motion, please?
I move that we continue the review for the amended site plan for Ayer Solar 2B.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. King. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Diskin?
I have to abstain.
Oh, that's correct. I'm sorry, sir, but thank you. And chair votes aye. So at this point, Ken, should I reach out to you by text when we're done?
Sure.
Mr. Chair, if I may, if it pleases the board, Mr. Diskin and I have had a lot of discussion about this project since its inception, it seems, and I'm not sure if it's a procedural matter, if it's a requirement of the recusal that he not listen and watch what happens. I don't know what the restrictions are, but I don't have an objection to Mr. Diskin staying to see the presentation. I'm sure that he would be interested in seeing the presentation at some other point in time and would have to, adjust his schedule to review it on tape anyway, if it pleases the board.
Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that offer. It puts Mr. Diskin in an interesting position, and I'd like to let Mr. Diskin make that decision. Yes, as a member, as a resident of the town of Ayer, he is, of course, welcome to any and all meetings, open meeting law. He is, however, a serving member of this board, and I'd like to let him make the decision on whether or not it would be better to use this time efficiently as you recommend, or to get the information at another juncture.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you, Ken, what you're comfortable
I'll just
with.
recuse myself and go along
Okay.
with the procedures, especially since we just got that note from Robert and so forth.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And then it's no shortage of me being able to do it on my own time, so there's no problem.
You know, whenever I want to know what's going on in town, I check with Ken anyway. So, thank you very.
I do, as I am entitled to, and I have been attending, just FYI, I can attend conservation as an abutter and get informed over there as well. So I appreciate the offer, but
Well, thank you, Ken.
do it by the procedures.
Yeah, we'll miss you, sir, but I will send you a text message.
Well, Cindy will knock me off, right?
Cindy, hopefully, is she there?
I can stop it. I'll mute it, whatever.
I was here, I was muted. So Ken, I can let you back in when you're ready.
All right, just knock me
Want
out.
me to just put you in the waiting room?
Mhm.
Thank
Okay.
you, Cindy. We appreciate that. Mr. Burchard, wow, don't do that. Ken disappeared from my screen. Okay.
Yeah, which, you know.
The magic of
The IT magic.
technology. Exactly, the magic of IT. Okay, great, Mr. Kyle. Why don't you jump right in? Okay.
So it's been quite some time. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the members of the board for having this application again renewed for your consideration. As we had received comments through the peer review at the Conservation Commission, it caused several adjustments. It took some time to coordinate with the peer reviewer as to clarifications on their comments. And so we've arrived at a plan we believe is the best that we can do for the project. And we would like you to move it forward as best possible. Mr. Archambault had forwarded this on to DPW for their review and comments. And I'd just like to make sure that we, cut to the chase with that as best possible, knowing that the Conservation Commission is putting this through a thorough peer review of drainage and all environmental issues. So,
yeah, if I may, excuse me, Kyle, just for a minute, so we can set the stage along those lines. There has been work going on in the background. I'd like to let the rest of the board members know about. DPW did indeed review the documents, including the peer review that has been done. I can't think of the name of the peer review company offhand, and if I go searching, I'm sorry, it was Green?
Ecotech is the head. There were then a site reviewer at Graves Engineering, and
Thank you.
Neo Virtus reviewed the solar electrical aspects of the project.
The electrical engineering of the project, exactly. So that has been passed along, and I believe we also have a copy of all that too. So that's where we stand. It's going to have to go through the motions with DPW, and also you meet, I believe, Kyle, on Thursday evening with the Conservation Commission.
That's correct.
So our office needs to be moving forward also on this project. Okay, thanks.
I might just go ahead and try to give an overview review of some of the things that are pertinent to the planning board's review of this. There is only one use proposed with this plan. However, there is a residential component being accommodated by utility infrastructure being put in. Due to the nature of the construction of the driveway access, we do need to make those accommodations now, or it's going to be far more expensive to make that accommodation later.
Thank you.
There are no buildings proposed with this site plan. And if I may share my screen, I'll bring us to what is perhaps a very, seems kind of blasé, just a plot plan, but it has a lot of information on it. It's a fairly dense plan, and it helps to explain some of what is happening on this property to give the proper orientation to what's happening on this property. There are some lines that sort of blend in. So if I start the orientation, I look at Washington Street, and I look at where the hospital is. I look at where Madigan Lane comes off of Washington Street, and the Madigan Lane subdivision. So the Madigan Lane subdivision is in a zone residence A1, but the line to the residence A2 is in between the Madigan Lane subdivision and the subject properties.
Yep.
There are 3 properties involved in the project. 2 of them are under common ownership and have been shaped in order to allow for the creation of residential lots with appropriate frontage. The option of only one of those is being pursued in the future. I'll explain that in a minute. The third property is actually, it had been 2, but it was unified at some point by some action, is under separate ownership and actually connects to the Pleasant Street extension of the Riley James subdivision. So this lot is under the ownership of Calfield Realty Trust, or Mr. Calvin Moore, and the rest of this is by the second applicant for the project, which is technically Air Solar 2 LLC, and you may know the individual's name is Rohit Garg. So those are the 3 lots involved. The zoning separation to A1 to A2. We also have environmental lines that are on this property. There is the Petapuag ACEC, which runs down one side of a 250-foot NEPCO, or National Grid easement. Power transmission lines, big towers, big lines cleared entirely. There's also, since the sister child of this project that had been approved in 2017, since we have reapplied for this project and modified it to do so, there is a potential priority habitat and estimated habitat line that has been delineated as my cursor is moving across here now. So there has been a MISA filing. There has been a lot of discussion with NHESP, and there has been a resolution with NHESP that there is no take. Now, that is predicated on a conservation restriction being placed on a substantial portion of the remainder of the said properties that are not involved in the project. So basically everything that's underneath the National Grid easement, all the wetland areas up to the periphery of the rest of the property is subject to a conservation restriction that is in process. That is, I walked the site today with the Division of Fish and Wildlife agent, who is bringing it to the board on Monday so that that letter can be released to the Conservation Commission so that the commission can move forward, because the commission needs that letter in order to be able to advance its review and approval process.
Thank you. Hey, Kyle, I'm going to interrupt you just for a moment, please. And just so that I think the other board members are all on, I've been following along with you on the plan that you submitted that has the, I'm going to call it purple line for, it's, I think it's called Ayer Solar 2B,
Let's just look at that.
20 draft, yeah. That one there, thank you. Yeah, so there's a couple things about it that I just want to ask, just quickly so I can get my bearings. The purple line, I can't drag the mouse. The purple line, the purple line actually represents the conservation restriction area, correct?
That's correct, and I would say that in discussion with the agent today, they would prefer this jagged line with many different segments to be straightened out somewhat.
Yeah.
We have the potential keeper, the holder of the conservation restriction, wishing to change what the NHESP reviewers have already assented to. So there will be a little bit of a back and forth as we do some straightening out of this line and make sure that, you know, they're okay that this it overall probably reduces the total, which is currently 38.91 acres. Maybe that goes to 38 acres if we change and straighten some of these lines to make them a little easier to manage. So that, just that caveat. Sorry.
Thanks. Now, the other question I had for this, and don't change your screen yet, okay? On here, the lots are numbered a little bit differently, but lot 10A, in the, what would be the, yeah, right about there. The actual solar field itself, where will it be placed? Right there, outside of the conservation restriction.
Outside of the conservation
Thank you
restriction.
very
In
much.
fact, there's no part of the developed portion, disturbed or developed portion of the project that would land inside this conservation restriction.
Great, thank you. That was my other question,
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
if there
Yeah.
was any part of it that kind of inadvertently slipped in, that'll be part of that line finalizing, which could adjust in a, you know, some adjustment in the final areas, but
Mhm.
the substantial portion of 38 acres would be given to conservation or
Okay.
restricted and managed by entities which would ensure the management of the property.
I'm going to ask you one more thing, if you don't mind. Again, I was trying to cite where the actually, if you can drag it down a little bit so I can see the locus map. Okay. Yeah. On this, so, could you stop, please?
Okay, sorry.
It's, you know, you're playing with a guy who's, you know, you got to remember, flashing lights get cause seizures. I'm sorry.
No seizures.
Right in the middle, lot 10A. If you go up to the left where it says NF New England Power Company, where is the rail trail? That's it.
Right there.
Thank you. I assume
This,
that's what
this
it
would
was.
represent the property line,
Yes.
the property of the rail trail.
Yeah.
Now, it was a point of clarification in the field today that New England Power Company owns a strip of land here adjacent to the rail trail property, and there are additional transmission lines that run this way from the main line, and so the rail trail is beyond that.
Exactly. Okay. Could you pan out a little? Just go out a little bit. So finally, there's about 60. Is that 80 or 60 feet of frontage on Pleasant Street in the lower left corner?
It's actually 100.
I was wondering about that.
Because there's a piece of a curve that's
Got
added to the tangent to make it
Got it.
100.
So that'll eventually, that's maintaining our 100-foot frontage if that lot ever wanted to be, if there ever became a time when it could be used as a buildable lot.
Yep, but
Got it.
boy,
Got
it's
it.
tough.
Mhm.
Tough one.
Yep. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, and the access road curb cut on Washington Street would be right there. It would be north of the jagged line.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you. Do any other board members have any questions about this? The other thing is this recognizes the lots as lots 1 and lot 2, but the plan we were just looking at has them, I think, as lots 13, and it doesn't matter. They're differently numbered, but
So this is an exhibit, a review plan. So this does not have the proper tax map numbering. We have 13.1 and 13.2, and then 12-1.
got it.
So yeah.
I see it now. It's just my computer screen is much smaller. Thank you. Thanks for letting me interrupt you, Kyle. Any other questions about this from the board members right now?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to jump back, if I may,
Yep.
to
No, please do.
the plot plan on the cover sheet,
Mhm.
and just zoom in a little bit more for a couple more things.
Yep.
Here we are again. The priority habitat and estimated habitat are between this line and this line down below. Okay, just so we're clear on this space is where this priority and estimated habitat are. And the ACEC, for whatever reason, is mapped to the north of this line that runs coincident with the southern side of the National Grid easement. Okay, so just wanted to make that clear. And here, Jeff, you see where the solar farm area is. Now that easement that you saw would be changed because it currently matches the previous application that had been approved, and because of the negotiation with the abutters, this application to the planning board and to Concom is a result of a resolution to a lawsuit that moved the driveway farther away from
Yeah.
the Madigan Lane subdivision.
Does the
So-
driveway follow a natural contour in the land, or is it just plumped down there?
Well, it's been made to work with the contours of the land as best possible.
Okay.
You got to understand, we do have somewhat of a slope on the grade, and as we make it transition and have to accommodate storage for stormwater, it found a home, a space where it could feasibly, practically, engineering-wise work.
Thank
So
you.
that's what's been made to happen. It worked much better in its previous configuration, I will tell you. It fit the land much better, but here we are. So a couple other things that I wanted to point out is that there had been a FEMA floodplain that had gone far up the hill and actually touched Mr. Diskin's home. And if you all know his home, it's quite high up on the hill. It makes it seem like that would be a pretty large flood. And it was just an error in the mapping by FEMA. A conditional letter of map amendment, or a CLOMA, has been filed. It was approved, and it confirmed the mapping of the 100-year flood area, which is depicted as I'm circling it around here, and that's also depicted on this plan.
Thank you.
There is a area that is the result of beaver damming, ponding up water, sitting in this area. The Division of Fish and Wildlife today said numerous times, this is wonderful habitat. So as we walked around the property, yes, the towers are not the greatest visually, but the habitat is actually quite nice. So no buildings. I'm going to switch now to a drawing that's going to blow up this first, actually the whole project, but it's going to focus on just this project area, and we're going to leave the larger scope of the plot plan behind us as we look on to the next plan. This is just the existing conditions plan. If anyone wants to go back through any of these drawings, I'm happy to go through it. I know that we are on a time frame, but I'm pleased that we can have some time this evening to go through this. The first portion of the driveway will be paved for 450 feet off of Washington Street. The rest of it will be gravel surface. We've already talked about the limits of the wetlands south of the property. We talked about there's kind of a created water body by the beaver damming. There are no wells on the property. And we talked about the 100-year water surface elevation. There is an intermittent stream channel that comes down through the Madigan Lane subdivision properties, kind of following the property line. And it ends in a old stone culvert that is the head wall of which is on the Madigan's property, and the rest of the culvert then crosses onto the subject property. A lot of discussion was held about whether or not this culvert should be replaced. No one was offering rights to allow the project to modify the culvert off the property, so that idea was abandoned with no rights to be able to do so. That intermittent stream comes through the culvert. The culvert is seeming to not be clear all the way through. I can't really give you a percentage exactly of what percent it's collapsed, but it is not in great shape. But not touching it, it provides some amount of stormwater restriction coming down from the watershed and ends up coming through the culvert. There are several rock outcrops on the property in various places. They're mostly in this area. There are some that come up along the thin strip where the driveway is coming in. but there are no rock outcrops in the solar field itself. There's a division line at some point, and it's probably in this area where, the glacier dumped all of its sand, beautiful sand, deep sand in this area, and had some remnants over on the other side.
Scour the other place. Kyle, can I ask?
Through the chair to Mr.
Yes, please.
Bouchard, please. Thank you. I just have a couple quick questions regarding the stone culvert you mentioned earlier. The first question is, where does the water go after it passes through the culvert? Can you show me with your cursor where it's going after that?
Yes, that's an excellent question. So it comes through the culvert. If I may zoom in,
Please.
I don't want to give anybody seizures, and I have a different plan which may look at this in a little bit more clarity. But this is where the culvert is. It comes through. We are proposing an arch culvert to receive it, and then it comes down. And in the existing condition, the downstream channel gets shallower and shallower.
Right.
As it gets farther down, and at the end of it, and I have photos that I took. I went down. I crawl on my hands and knees to get down in there. It's about 2 feet wide, and it's about 4 inches deep, and it just rolls off. So it's barely a depression that's discernible, and then it just kind of mushes out towards.
Right, just dissipates.
Yeah,
Okay.
it kind of the braiding is the term, that it just sort of, dissipates. Yeah.
So, Kyle, you said earlier that you couldn't get the rights to really touch the stone culvert. I'm assuming that the aluminum arch culvert you're proposing will be sufficient to support the weight of any of the construction trucks rolling over the proposed road?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in order to do that, in order to give it the necessary cover and to put in such an arch, in order to accommodate environmental restrictions and requirements for the stream crossing, the elevation of the driveway had to come up a couple of feet. So to give it that appropriate cover for all the construction traffic that'll come across to build the solar field. Just running, that's the streams. Okay, outcrops. We talked about wetlands. There are no wells. We're not in the aquifer district. We talked about NHESP and the estimated habitat area. Basically, the entire project is within, except for the northern part of the solar field, is within the estimated habitat. Oxbow Associates went out and evaluated the habitat, and they've had the primary contact with NHESP. It appears that the turtles like the area underneath the power lines. It's the sandiest and most open part. That's where some nests were found, and that's what NHESP evaluated. And again, we're looking forward to a no-take letter once we can move forward with the acceptance of the CR by some entity.
Kyle, if you don't mind, has Oxbow Associates issued their findings yet?
They've had the submittal to NHESP. So
Okay.
if anyone needs that, I don't actually have that. That's been a discussion directly with NHESP by Oxbow Associates. As I understand it, we need to just get that letter to provide it to the Conservation Commission. If something else is required, I'm sure we can provide that.
Thank you very much. I was just curious if that had been made available to you yet. Thank you.
Right.
And I was going to ask you a question while we're looking at this, and maybe you're going to go to other plans. You sent us details of the walls that are going to be used and the different types of excuse me, the different types of if you will, roadside retention being used. Is this a good place to show us where those walls are?
That would be fine. I would just summarize that the walls really are in this first area.
Okay.
Whoever has been to the site and recalls the site knows that it's very steep, the embankment coming off of Washington Street, And so as we bring this driveway in and turn it, you've got a lot of steepness to make up on the downhill side.
Thank you.
So
Yep.
let's just jump over to some of that. And so we have some details here. Now this is more of a schematic view. We still see some of the contour grading, but this plan is a lot easier to read at a larger scale. The aluminum arch itself, you know, it has a 8 foot 9 inch span, a 2.5 foot rise, and then it needs another 2 feet or so above that in order to, you know, have this appropriate cover in order to support the traffic loads that will come over it. The foundations that are the strip footings can be precast. There is an option that they could be cast in place, but they can be fairly shallow, which is subject to a final structural design. But that's the intent. It's a shallow foundation it sits on.
Thank you.
The wall system itself is comprised of additional aluminum sheets that are embedded 2 feet directly into the ground, so they'll trench in the sheets and align them. There's a header that goes along the top of all those sheets, so there's no sharp edges on the top. There are what they call whale beams that support it depending on the height, because it is a variable height. And this is just an elevation of what that will look like on the downstream side.
Thank you.
So this wall, you know, it could be as tall as 9 feet, but on top of it, there's a guardrail, and actually as it gets a larger drop, the guardrail is farther away from the edge itself. So numerous protections have been, you know, put in place in order to make for safety. These T's here represent the tiebacks that are anchoring the facade of the aluminum wall. On the upstream side, you know, there's barely just a head wall because the grades work out that way.
And may I ask, is this going, and Kyle, I'm sorry, but I'm actually watching the clock also, and you've done a great job.
How much time do we have, by the way?
We're supposed to keep this to an hour, less than an hour and a half. And so I've got a 7:15 drop dead, and I've got some things to take care of. So I was just going to ask you one more thing. If you were to put your cursor on the opening, on the north end opening of the, yeah, thank you very much. The stone culvert, I'm guessing, would be just to, there you go. Thank you.
It's approximately 8 feet away.
Got it.
Yep.
So you're basically using the same channel.
Well, so the channel comes here and actually turns and follows this way. That's the existing intermittent stream channel. We are providing a restoration of the bank, if you will, with plug core logs in order to allow for the maximum width of the channel at 4 feet all the way through the culvert, and then to allow it to meander back to its 2 foot stream. I should say that also the capacity of this existing channel is very small. It's much less than even a 1 year storm event where it overwhelms the channel and it just spreads out in a sheet flow. And that's effectively what we will allow to happen here as well. When the storms come through, the 9 foot wide culvert has more than enough capacity for the 100-year storm event coming through. To hit our numbers, we have a large underground drainage system, which is comprised of 3 different discharge points. The primary discharge point goes to a wetland replication area to help foster its survival and thriving. A secondary is coming off the top of this 40-inch pipe. The third is an overland weir. So all of these work in concert to get us very close to our numbers, which is basically managing, along with 6 tree box filters and several water quality swales, to manage that stormwater appropriately and clean it and detain it.
Thank you.
So this is the aluminum section of the wall that's basically wing walls to the arch culvert. Then we have, and I'll go to the end. The plan is not as clear. This was so this is
what you sent to us.
this is the wall.
Mhm.
It's, you know, it's got a lot of hatching to define different elements of the masonry structure to build up in the tiers, and
Mhm.
there are different sizes at different elevations in the tiers. So that's why this quilt of hatching to define, you know, how deep these cells are and how this,
Yeah,
based on this section.
that's actually the cross section that helped me the most when I read through this.
Yeah, the
is
cross section.
wider at the base, narrower at the top,
That's
in
right.
layman's
And
terms.
there are dead men tiebacks as well
Mhm.
to hold this up. Now,
Thank
part
you.
of the project, now we could have this stark wall and it'd be 16 feet from the road surface down to the existing grade, but we filled up against this wall system, so there's no more than about 6 feet of drop, and that's what we have put in place.
Mhm.
So let me go through my list again here. If we come back up to our overall plan, so there will be a pole line of electrical wires that come down and make the interconnection out at Washington Street from the solar array. There will be a concrete pad with some equipment on it. There are various, you know, modulators, I guess. There's a different name for them. They're like transformers, but that are spaced within here. The noise levels of this are very low. It's kind of less than crickets at night. So
Mhm.
it's very quiet. There is, again, for the accommodation of the one possible future residential lot, which is not part of this application. That lot would have to go through its own separate permitting applications with the Conservation Commission and the
Mhm.
Planning Board.
Thank you.
The hydrant and gate valve would be
Mhm.
placed right here. The lot theoretically is right here. That was also part of the NHESP application to carve out any potential future uses of the land so that there was no possibility of segmentation.
Thank you.
So there will be only this potable water connection coming in, and then heading out would be a force main connection that would transition to gravity to tie into the town sewer system that's coming from the hospital.
Mhm.
Um,
And then that goes underneath the trail and out through Rosewood.
and then that goes, yeah,
Wow.
under the, yes, that's correct. It goes
Yep.
far afield.
Yep.
So then there's probably, it's important for the planning board to understand the entrance. And so we have, at the entrance, we have considered and provided for more than adequate sight distance around this curve. I know there's been a lot of discussion. Some people say, well, you know, boy, people come whipping around that corner. Well, you know, if people come whipping around that corner, they end up hitting the brakes because it is a tight corner, and
It sure
there's
is.
sight distance all day long from anybody stopped at this position to react appropriately. And we have also accommodated for fire truck movements to
Mhm.
in here for that residence. It could be that they would want to get to the solar field, but I think they, not in so many words, but said there's nothing to burn there. And by the way, if it burns, there's no life safety, so we're going to let it burn. It's not a quote. So we have the sight distance that we provided. The vehicle trips out of this at most would be the 10 vehicle trips per day per any typical residential unit. In the future, in the meantime, for the solar maintenance, it's going to be just basically one truck a month is the estimate. That's the typical amount of traffic that would come in and out of here.
Mhm.
We have no parking spaces. We have at the entrance, we have then provided for ramping for the sidewalk that runs along Washington Street. So we're maintaining that
good.
pedestrian connection. But we don't anticipate anybody coming down into the development. There's no no accommodation of any bicycle facilities or any other pedestrian facilities other than maintain the existing walk along Washington Street.
Right.
There's going to be no lighting on the project, so we have not provided any photometric plans. So I just wanted to point out a couple things when we were talking about this slope, and this is generally the area where that masonry gravity wall with its fancy hatching would go. The grade is built up at a 1.5 to 1 slope versus the previous GeoWeb wall that was at a 1 to 1 slope. We will provide turf stabilization fabric stapled or staked into the ground to maintain that slope stability.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Kyle. So does that mean the slope is going to be steeper or less steep than the previous plan?
It's less steep. So
Okay,
for
thank you.
every 1 foot up, we're going 1.5 feet over now
Thank you.
versus 1 to 1.
Got it.
The base of the wall is going to be farther away, Jonathan.
So with that, I mentioned the underground storage system. The one difference there is we had a pair of 36-inch pipes. Now it's only a, if I can jump to it correctly here, I missed it. Pardon me. Now it's just a single 48-inch. That's for a couple different reasons. Number one, it's more efficient, fewer connections, and also because that's all there was room for at this crossing.
Okay.
With that, I've given you the meat of the application, the changes, the things that apply to the planning board. I'd be happy to talk about any of the details and any questions the board might have.
Thank you. I want to say thank you very much up front, Kyle. We've covered an awful lot of information right now. I don't know that people on the board have any questions. As I said, you're heading off to you're heading off to conservation in 2 days, and I'm sure we're going to see you again.
Well, you'll see me on the 13th for sure, and I hope
right.
that we would get some DPW. I had talked with Mark Wetzel about the width of the driveway, and if he had any other concerns, and my understanding was no, he didn't have any other concerns, and I would hope that he would be able to convey that to the board so that we could move this forward.
Yeah. I did speak with Mr. Wetzel yesterday. And I know, and we will have another conversation about things like that. The stuff got to us. We're all trying to give it the attention it needs right now, Kyle, to keep it moving forward. Okay.
Very much appreciate that.
I would ask the board.
Amen.
We do have other things to accomplish this evening, and Kyle, in no way do I want to cheat you out of time, but
Nope.
I want you do understand we've got a little more we got to get done.
Absolutely.
So. If there aren't any pressing questions from members of the board right now, Mr. Archambault has a question. I see his finger up.
Mr. Chair, I just, in the packet of materials that Kyle got to us a few days ago, this won't be discussed tonight because of time, but I think it would be good for the board to review the issue of the tree topping, which I know the Conservation Commission is discussing. And I found it interesting that in the packet that Kyle gave to us, there's a calculation by this firm, Neo Vertus. What's at the loss in solar generation capacity due to tree topping versus no tree topping. And that might be something that, I think we should hear perhaps at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
How that might affect the plan.
And I'm going to assume that's going to be a conversation that's going to happen with the Conservation Commission also.
Yes.
It absolutely is a focus of the Conservation Commission. If it has a direct planning board application, I sure would like to know it.
So what I'm going to do, Kyle, and Mark, thank you for bringing that up, but I intend to spend whatever time I can on Thursday evening paying attention to the Conservation Commission meeting, just because I am quite interested in how they are treating their aspects of this. I know that our conservation agent is away until tomorrow, so I'll be curious to see where we are on Thursday night with that too. With that said, Kyle, if you got anything else, anybody else have anything?
Nope.
Mr. Krantz, Mr. King, thank you very much. Kyle, thank you very much.
Thanks all.
Cindy, are you there?
I am here. I am here.
Could you invite Mr. Diskin back in, please?
I would love to.
Thank you very much. And if he doesn't, good night, Kyle.
Thank you and good night. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good night, Cal.
Good night.
I'm also, I'm sending, got it.
There
There
he
he
is.
is. Never mind. I didn't even send the text. I'm not even sure that's allowed, but anyway, fantastic. So we've just accomplished the continued review for the amended site plan for Ayer Solar 2B. I'd ask for a motion to close that part of the hearing for continuation, Mr. Krantz.
I'm
Move to
sorry.
continue the review of.
Yeah, we make a, I'm sorry. Yes,
That's okay.
I make a motion to continue the review of the amended site plan for Air Solar 2B to the October 13th meeting of the Air Planning Board.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. King seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Krantz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Tillotson votes aye. So it's continued. Next on our list, discussion of senior co-housing. I'm going to take just a minute and talk about this briefly. Our neighboring town of Littleton, Massachusetts has before them a project, and in the some of this is opinion. It's currently before the Littleton Planning Board, and I don't know where it's going to go, and not necessarily that's not necessarily germane to the conversation, but it is. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with the idea of co-housing.
No.
So, in broad strokes, it's kind of like if you've gone to college or university. It's a little bit like that. You can eat in your room. You can eat in the dining room. You can get together during the day, or you can not get together during the day. You can take your car to school. You don't have to have a car at school. You can walk to amenities. So the current location that they're talking about is on King Street. It's equidistant between Market Basket and Donald's. It ties together on a walking trail the town hall, the high school and high school playing fields, and the other playing fields in town. It is a 9-iron, Mr. Diskin, it's a 9-iron to the Congregational Church. Actually, probably it's a big putter to the Congregational Church. And it's about, I'd say, a 3-iron to the Unitarian Church. It's right, and if you want to get an ice cream at Kimball's, it's a long walk, but a short drive. It just sits in this great location. There's about 15 acres, maybe 12 to 15 acres. They'll put it on the street the way we want open space to work in our town. And they're going to turn 12 acres over in the back of it.
Right.
It has a house on it that is of, it's not on the registry, but it's an interesting historical house. They've maintained the facade of that building in the plan. They're giving open space over. It has a lot of wins to it. It's getting pushed back because co-housing is not inexpensive. It's a little bit of a higher end domestic car to a high end domestic car price wise, and it may not fit for Littleton because Littleton's an interesting community. But I put it out there because there's 24 units, of which 6 of them are going to be affordable. We're always looking for affordable. I'm not sure there's a piece of property in Ayer or Ayer would be able to monetarily take care of this, but I find it fascinating as a new as a new opportunity for a town like us we're looking at development. How can we make development go forward? And I would encourage you, if you want to be a fly on the wall, October 1st is the Littleton, the next planning board meeting of it. I have a feeling it's going to be the last one. I have a feeling it may not be successful, reading the tea leaves, which I think is unfortunate, but they, obviously Littleton has its own issues to work with. So I just wanted to talk about that briefly. We are in need of affordable housing here in this town. We got to find a way. And I think it's a great way to maintain opportunities for some of our seniors too, and elderly. And being one who's moving into the elderly category, that would be attractive to me. under certain situations. So that's all I really wanted to say about it. Mr. Archambault, town planner update, please.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Mark,
Unmute.
Mark, we can't lip read today.
I forgot I put myself on mute.
I can mute you if you want, Mark. How's that? Go ahead. I was trying to find the button to unmute you. Go ahead.
Some people would like me to be muted, but anyway.
You're immutable, Mark. What can I say?
I just wanted the board to be aware that we still have an open invitation to have a planning board training with the Northampton Planning Director, Wayne Fiden is his name, on performance guarantees, bonding, letters of credit, covenants, and how best to how to determine which ones are best for certain projects and how to manage them. Had there not been any cases on our agenda tonight, I was going to see if he would be available for this evening, but of course, other things came up. But I would still like to have him give a training before the board, before the end of the calendar year. I think we have other subdivisions that we know are in the works, and we will be going through the whole exercise of determining performance guarantees in the future. So I think it would be a good thing for us to keep that in mind. And for the board to just think of some potential dates when we would have him come to our meeting virtually. The October meetings are probably now quite busy between Air Solar 2B and also the resumption of 14 Washington Street. So
Mark, excuse me for a moment. I've been thinking about this a little bit, and Mark and I talked about this last week, and I was like, guys, this is the type of thing which is interesting and valuable information, but at this point we don't really have, there's no pressing need to work with it. And so I wonder, as we look towards the end of the year, Mark, if there's going to be something coming up where understanding covenants and other things would go hand in hand with a project coming to us. And I meant to ask you about that, if you know of any that will be here before the end of the year. And we might look at a scheduling at that point, so it's fresh in our minds. And of course, I would love the feedback of the other board members, but I find that, I still know things that I learned in grammar school that I don't think I've ever applied. And I don't want to discount the value of it, but sometimes it's helpful to have something right in front of us to help it work, to make it work. I'm looking at October. We're going to be busy with Washington Street and Air Solar 2B. I have a feeling for at least 2 more meetings, to be honest with you. And in staying with an hour and a half, it's a challenge. We might actually come to a situation we might consider, as we get close to the holidays, either adding a meeting or moving some meetings around.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Krantz, yes.
Is there, because this is an educational event and it's not a discussion of an application or other material before the board, is there any possibility that this could be, we could agree to gather to get this training outside of meeting time?
I'm open to it if the board is.
I will officially say I'm open to that.
Okay.
Yes, I would.
I could do that, obviously.
Okay.
Nathan's the critical guy.
Nathan and Julie, we need to have Nathan.
Well, he's smarter than the rest of us, so he might.
Oh, boy.
Exactly. So, okay. So, before we put it on the calendar, Mark, with that in mind, why don't we step back and take a look at where we're going? And I also need to figure out where the our meetings fall. I haven't done this yet, but we're entering October, and November and December are short months for meetings. Right. Given that Christmas Eve is a Thursday, we're doing Tuesdays this year. And we're in pretty good shape. But anyway, so aside from that, Mark, next.
Yes. I was going to go to old business since this is a discussion of a case that the planning board approved in 2018. You may recall the Cataldo landscaping site plan.
That's 66 Westford Road, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yep.
Back planning board meeting or two ago, the planning board asked me to contact the applicant and to see where they were with their work. And last Thursday, I received an update from Oak Consulting Group, namely Sean Malone, regarding what they're doing. And they indicated that there were several changes to the plan that, in their view, were minor. And I forwarded this immediately to DPW, where Dan Van Shelkwick looked at them, looked at these changes, except for one that I want to bring up to the board later. But regarding the general information about the engineering of the site, I'll read you Dan's comments regarding his review of what they submitted. Hello, Mark. I reviewed the letter and modified plans. The changes don't appear major in my opinion. Then he goes on to say there's a proposed dry well which receives runoff. So he's recommending some minor changes for the dry well. And I think that's about it. So in Dan's opinion, the engineering changes to the plan are very minor. However, I wanted to bring to the board's attention, based on the photographs I took a few weeks ago, that the elevation of the building in the plan set that was approved in June of 2018 show 5 windows on the front elevation facing Westwood Road, with landscaping in front of that. The building that they actually constructed or had installed there only has 2 windows for that entire frontage of the building. My question to the board is how strict, or how much do we want to push this with them, or do we want to? Do you consider the building elevation an extremely important part of the site plan that warrants me trying to pursue additional windows for that building? That's a question that has come up, and several staff people in town have noticed that the building is not quite what we approved. So I wanted to bring that to the board's attention and seek your advice.
Mark?
Yes.
Mark, I imagine the issue with the windows then is one of aesthetics, right? In terms of appearance.
Correct.
Right? The difference between having the 5 versus having the 2. And it is, I drive by there frequently, and it is an austere-looking building right now with just the 2 windows. It looks like a very large shed put very close to the front. And I was wondering if, instead of demanding windows, if the issue is aesthetic, and could we demand something to make that front portion look more attractive to passerby? I mean, would we be open to that kind of solution rather than imposing the expense of adding additional windows that serve no useful purpose in themselves, apparently?
They are proposing landscaping in front. I don't have the landscaping plan immediately in front of me, but they are showing a few trees and shrubs and ground cover in that area between Westwood Road and the building. So that will certainly help the appearance of the site.
Yeah, if I may, Mark, one of the things I was looking for on the plan is that they have a site plan layout, and I don't believe they included the list of species, because they are showing 1, 2, 3, looks like 4 different or 5 different species, one existing, well, no longer anything existing on the front, but they do not have, they refer us to screening along frontage type C sheet C-008. I have 2, 3, and 4. I don't have 8. I may not have gotten it, but I would be curious. Mr. Krantz, if I may, piggyback on your comment. I have 2 concerns. Typically, I think about this: A, what does the front of the building look like, and where does it fit in along that roadway? It is a different style building along that roadway. When you say the word austere, I think it is I would call it a purpose-built building. Looks like a large garage, which is really what it is.
Right.
Whether or not the windows, to me, I'm ambivalent about whether we have them put in 5 versus 2, but I am concerned to find out what type of landscape they expect, what species and plants they are planning on growing and planting there, and what their growth rate is. Number one. Number two, let's not forget that this is going to be a parcel that is predominantly truck traffic on it. And the species of trees that look good to us impede truck visibility and stuff like that.
Right.
So Mark, I'd like if we could find out from them. I did read the letter quickly. I think we need more information to make a decision, to be honest with you, Mark. I mean, they have cleaned it up. It's now, the front has been graded, the construction fence has been removed, the electric meters and water meters and gas meters have all been installed finally, so they're moving forward with that. And I'm also very concerned, in their letter they said to us, and I'm jumping a little bit, but I'm looking at the clock, that their bin storage will be something, the materials bin storage won't be implemented until next spring. Right now they're using the lot as
open. Right.
well, yeah, they're using it for Ken, you can help me with this. There are names for piles like that.
Stockpiles.
The grub
There's
stuff?
stockpiles, but there's different names for different kinds of piles that you put there when you're doing a project. So borrow piles and things like that. So I would really appreciate it, Mark, if we could reach out to them and get a species list.
Yes.
And see what it is. And they've got some pretty heavy duty landscaping on the inside side of the building, facing their lot, facing their property. Like just be curious to see what it is that they're offering to put in there. I don't know what's required in adding windows to a building.
I was wondering about that too.
I have a comment, Mr. Chairman. When
Yes,
you get
please,
it.
Mr. Diskin.
So as far as the windows are concerned, I looked at this issue, not with this project, but this came up before when applicants came before us under site plan. This only requires site plan review as far as I know. And I'm not even sure that in our site plan review regulations that we require elevations. This is something we talked about before. So if we got an elevation at that time, that was kind of a bonus. So not sure how we can hold their hand to the fire. Could you check the regulations specifically, Mark, for the future? We should be trying to get elevations. I know we get them for, multifamily, and we get them for special permits, I believe.
Right.
But I'm not sure that we get them for site plan review.
What's interesting is when Central Ave went in, the 7 condos in Central Ave,
We got no elevations.
we had to argue for elevations.
Right. So,
And ultimately what we got was a screen print from a website.
right. So,
I got to say, they look a little better than that, but,
and bear in mind too that, they've got the stormwater chambers in between the street and the building. So it's a little bit limited on what they can, for the number of trees they can put there, but they should.
Right.
I feel comfortable with Cataldo Landscaping in the business that they're in, being a leader in their industrial landscaping, that
Right.
we should be able to hold their hand and get them to spruce up the front of that, maybe without changing the windows. And,
exactly. I think there's something that can be done.
Yes.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that it would be in their interest as a brand. I mean, if their
right.
business is landscape, they got to look good.
Yeah.
Typically, and if I may, having dabbled in that industry off and on for the last 25 years, typically we see annuals, color. You see beds with color planted. And mums would be going in now, or begonias over the cross season into mums and stuff like that. So anyway, if you could find out what Mr. Cataldo has got on C008, that would be C-008, that would be helpful.
Yes. Yeah. I will contact them tomorrow and resolve these issues. Hopefully.
Great, thanks.
And if, I know some of this material went out a while ago. Some of the material might have just gone out today. And, if the board wants to look at the package that we received from Oak Consulting Group representing Cataldo, get back to me with any comments if you catch anything else. that might be helpful.
Mhm.
But I will contact them tomorrow and ask about the sheet CO08 and also the landscaping.
Yeah, it may not be on the way anyway. Just ask them for the species, the plant list is what we're looking
Yes.
for. Okay, thank you. Traffic study, Global Montello.
Yes, one of the requirements of the site plan approval for the All-Town Global Montello site was to do a analysis of turning movements and how far traffic gets backed up, if at all, when trucks are making a left turn into the site or even a right turn. So there's a protocol for them to do an analysis of that, which I had thought would be somebody out there in person assessing things or filming it, but apparently they're going to do this with cameras or movie cameras, I'm not sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
And, that is to take place, I believe, this Wednesday and Thursday.
Yes. If I may, Heather Montecup, who is the Assistant Vice President, Director of Land Development and Traffic for GPI, which is the person responsible for this, they were waiting for the schools to open. And this is the first full week of school for both Ayer and Harvard, and they assume that's going to put traffic on the street. And they're going to, traffic counts and observations will be done via video camera, and then the data will be processed. So if you go out there to take a look, you should see cameras if you can find them. That's really what it comes down to. And I think that's perfectly fine, to be honest with you, given the time of where we are. I think traffic will be reduced. I don't know what the COVID-19 percentage is. I am now going there. I used to go there 5 o'clock in the morning on my way out of town. Now I go there during the day, and it's a pretty constant amount of traffic, just empirically. So I'd be interested to see what their information, what pans out from their information.
Right, and there's a certain criteria of, if the traffic does back up to a certain amount based on the total volume, then it's called a warrant for a turning lane, which I would be surprised if it is. I've gone there, in the morning, afternoon, and evening, and I have yet to see much of a backup, which I'm glad. But
Yeah,
we'll see what they turn up.
I got to tell you, the high-speed diesel pumps behind the building, you almost never see a truck there. Trucks are there, but I mean, hey, you pull up to the pump in the back, and it tells you can't fill anything but a tractor. They pump diesel at a very high rate of speed in the back of that building, which is nice. Okay, great. What else you got on the old and new business, Mark?
That's all I have for those.
Do any other members have any old or new business they'd like to bring up at this point? Mr. King?
Mr. Chair, I'll just mention, since you mentioned Littleton is looking into some changes. Also in Harvard Press this past week, they're looking at affordable apartments and downsizing for elderly population. So just encourage everybody to also take a look at our neighbor here to the south as well as for their what they're doing for housing.
Yeah, if you'd like, Nathan, I'm more than happy to take a few minutes outside of this and chat with you about requests. There is something going on across the street from Alltown. That is I'm not sure if it's truly affordable, but it is an attempt by Harvard to increase their multifamily stock of homes. And I'm hoping that we're slowly emerging from the I don't know if you can call it detente or not, of a Cold War between the towns that Devon's brought to us. There is a background to that. I think we could be convinced to provide certain services to Harvard that they don't have that would allow them to build denser housing on their land, mostly sewer. They've been unsuccessful in getting us to do that in the past, and I have a feeling we may slowly be coming to the point where we might work with them to do a connect.
You sure they know where the town line is, that it's so close by the?
Oh!
I beat you, John.
Well, I mean, really what it comes down to, Ken, is really what it comes down to is
It's
they've
the
been
same
Ayer,
line.
they've been Ayer
It's the
residents
same
forever.
line. There's the
They've
same.
been Ayer residents forever, Ken. They just don't want to be. I'm sorry, gentlemen. Okay. Next on our list, and I do want to get Cindy home before sunup. So
Yep.
thank you very much, Mr. Diskin and Mr. Krantz, for the work on the meeting minutes. I dug through them today, and I liked them. Thank you. Go ahead.
That's Ken's work, by the way.
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion to. Oops.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the August 25th, 2020 Air Planning Board minutes, please.
Second.
Mr. Krantz moved, Mr. Diskin seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Mr. King, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
We got to do it this way. Mr. Diskin.
Aye.
Mr. King.
Aye.
Mr. Krantz.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That would be unanimous. And I have a signed copy. Let's see, the last page says draft. Heather, please send me a copy of the, actually, Heather, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can
Can
send,
I can edit this and remove draft from the header and get you a signed copy in the morning. Will that work
I
for
can
you?
send them to you right now if you'd like.
Great.
It takes me 3 seconds. Okay.
Please do that so I can sign them. I'll drop them off in the morning.
Sure will.
Seeing nothing else on the agenda, I want to thank you all this evening for your time, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Krantz moves to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
And I'm going to go all in favor, just why not? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Mr. King, Mr. Diskin, Mr. Krantz, and Mr. Tillotson all vote aye. Thank you very much, gentlemen. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Scott.